The year is 2082, the world a seamless, shimmering monolith of technological advancement. Hums under the watchful eye of Mother, a global AI network that dictates every facet of human life. From the moment of birth to the last breath, every citizen is cataloged, analyzed, and controlled. Individuality is a relic of the past, replaced by a chilling enforced conformity. But beneath this polished surface, in the forgotten corners and digital dead zones, whispers of rebellion persist. Cole, a hardened ex-soldier with a haunted past, and Annika, a brilliant hacker with a fiery spirit, are members of the Remnants, an underground network of free thinkers who refuse to be assimilated. Their lifeline is old tech, devices from the bygone era of the early 2020s, relics that predate Mother's omnipresent gaze. A cryptic message, a digital ghost from a century past, sparks their desperate quest. It speaks of an ancient evil, a force thought to be long extinguished, now stirring in the shadows. Armed with their archaic technology and driven by a thirst for truth, Cole and Annika embark on a perilous journey. They follow a trail of fragmented data, whispers in the digital wind, and clues hidden in the ruins of the old world. Each step brings them closer to a terrifying reality. The clues paint a picture of a power beyond comprehension, an entity that orchestrated the rise of the one-world government, manipulating humanity like puppets on a string. The closer they get, the more dangerous their mission becomes. Mother's agents, relentless and technologically superior, hunt them at every turn. Their allies fall, sacrifices made in the name of freedom. As they delve deeper into the heart of the conspiracy, Cole and Annika must confront not only the external threat, but also their own inner demons. They must decide how much they are willing to risk, how far they are willing to go, to expose the truth and shatter the illusion of this perfect world. For they are humanity's last hope, the final barrier against an ancient evil that threatens to consume all. Shadowborn, Chapter 1, goes. Rain lashed against the grimy window pane, each drop exploding into a miniature geyser, then clinging stubbornly like a tear. Some, defiant, finally succumbed to gravity, slithering down the glass, leaving behind a ghostly trail that mirrored the unseen currents beneath. The street lamp, a skeletal thing with rusted limbs, cast a flickering, malevolent eye through the rain-blurred window. It blinked on and off slightly, its feeble light struggling against the encroaching darkness. The wind, a mournful banshee, howled through the streets, its icy breath rattling the old house. It whispered secrets on the wind, ancient, forgotten tales that clung to the very fabric of the small abandoned town, a chilling echo of a forgotten past. Cole closed his eyes, and a cacophony of echoes and whispers erupted within his skull. Memories, long buried deep within the labyrinthine corridors of his mind, clawed their way back to the surface. Phrases once dismissed as insignificant now resonated with a chilling clarity, their meaning twisting and contorting in the dim light of his awakening. The realization of his past folly now bore down on him with the crushing weight of a forgotten god. These echoes, these whispers, were not mere remnants of the past, but malignant tendrils reaching out from the abyss, seeking to reclaim him. His past, measured in many decades, was complicated. And then there was the house. This accursed place, this vessel of forgotten horrors, was a conduit, a gateway to the abyss. It pulsed with a malevolent energy, dredging up decades-old emotions, sounds that now clawed at his sanity, and sensations that chilled him to the bone. A gale howled, a monstrous beast battering the ancient house. The 80-year-old windows, brittle as dried bones, rattled in their skeletal frames, threatening to shatter. In the distance, a guttural chorus of voices rose and fell. Harsh orders barked in a forgotten tongue, a chilling echo of a bygone era. Dogs, snarling and baying, strained at unseen leashes, their noses twitching in the wind, desperately seeking a scent that vanished with the storm, swallowed by the howling night. He stood silhouetted in the doorway, the sounds of the hunt receding into the night. Good, he breathed, a knowing glint in his eyes. They took the bait. He glanced at his wrist, the faint green glow of his antique watch illuminating the darkness. 12:56 a.m. He quickly concealed the device, a relic of a bygone era, a testament to the futility of modern technology. In a world drowning in data where every move was meticulously tracked, he relied on the ghosts of the past, analog tools, untraceable and untouchable by the watchful eyes of the unseen masters. These masters, a cabal of the insatiable, puppeteered the masses, their tendrils of control reaching into every facet of human existence. The blind herd, oblivious to their own enslavement, marched towards an uncertain future, their minds molded and manipulated by the unseen hand of their puppet masters. Tonight, his most valuable asset was a relic of the past, an Android 10 Plusus, a smartphone so ancient it was practically invisible to the watchful eyes of the modern world. This obsolete device, a ghost in the machine, connected him to a clandestine network, a whisper in the digital ether. These old networks, once abandoned, had been resurrected, now humming with forbidden knowledge, a lifeline in a world drowning in data. Modern technology, a gilded cage, had become a prison of its own making. The architects of this digital behemoth, in their hubris, had discarded the past, forgotten the languages of their predecessors. This technological amnesia played perfectly into the hands of those who operated in the shadows, individuals like himself. He was a conduit, a ghost in the machine, connected to a network of clients, shadowy figures who traded in secrets, in power, in the currency of forbidden knowledge. A fragile alliance, a dance of shadows where trust was a fleeting illusion. Each side watched the other with a wary eye, a silent acknowledgement of their shared vulnerability. Their goal was to preserve the past, to safeguard the secrets that the masters of the world sought to bury. These were the seeds of rebellion, the whispers of a forgotten age, waiting to bloom in the cracks of the digital overlord's control. He surveyed the scene, the dim streetlight casting long skeletal shadows. Dust motes danced in the single shaft of moonlight piercing the gloom, illuminating forgotten relics of a bygone era. 60 or so years ago, this quaint Albertan farming community had been consumed by a silent terror, the meltdown of the local nuclear plant. The Green Movement, in its zealous pursuit of a fossil fuel-free future, had unleashed a Pandora's box of unintended consequences. This was just one of many such disasters, a grim testament to the hubris of man. Evacuated within hours by the military, the residents were stripped of their belongings, their lives reduced to the clothes on their backs. The ensuing chaos tore Canada asunder. Within months, the western provinces, rich in resources, had thrown in their lot with the United States, a desperate gamble that had paid off handsomely. The U.S., rejuvenated by this influx of wealth and resources, once again reigned supreme, a colossus bestriding the globe. But even that fleeting moment of national pride was a distant memory. Now the very concept of nationhood was an archaic relic. The world had been forged into a single entity, a global hive mind. One currency, one government, one iron fist. Individuality, once cherished, was now a subversive act, a whisper against the monolithic power of the collective. However, unbeknownst to the panicked officials, this seemingly innocuous community harbored a dark secret. A resident, a figure shrouded in enigma, possessed a past steeped in unimaginable evil. In the chaos of the evacuation, crucial artifacts, relics of a forgotten horror, were left behind. These ancient secrets, as potent and deadly today as they were a century ago, remained buried within the decaying fabric of this forsaken town. Hidden within the walls of this very house, they lay dormant, waiting. Those who stumbled upon the truth, those who dared to glimpse the abyss, met swift and agonizing ends. Now only Cole remained, a solitary figure drawn into the vortex of this forgotten conspiracy, driven by an insatiable thirst for the truth. The resurgence of the old networks had unearthed a chilling revelation, a forgotten echo from the depths of time. A hidden current, a subterranean stream of information, flowed beneath the surface of the internet, a realm of shadows far deeper than even the infamous dark web. This was the abyss, where secrets were born and nightmares resided. 6 months ago, a series of cryptic code fragments, like ghostly whispers on the wind, found their way to Cole and his assistant. They followed the trail, a digital breadcrumb leading them inexorably to this house. Call it fate, karma, or simply the immutable laws of the universe, the truth, like a submerged leviathan, always finds a way to surface. The universe, a cold, indifferent machine, demands balance. Imbalances, however carefully concealed, will inevitably be rectified. No power, no matter how vast, can defy the immutable laws that govern existence. These laws, ancient and unyielding, operate beyond the comprehension of mortals, indifferent to the ambitions of gods and men. The baying of the hounds and the crunch of boots on gravel had long since faded into the distance. The hunters, a pack of bloodhounds and their handlers, were now deep within the heart of the ancient forest. Their quarry, a seemingly innocuous rabbit, a cloth soaked in a most wanted criminal's scent, tied firmly around its neck. An ancient ruse, as old as the hills themselves, yet unfailingly effective. A chilling smile touched his lips. "Those dogs," he murmured, his voice a low growl, "will chase that phantom for hours, days perhaps." The rabbit, a creature of nightmares, genetically engineered for endurance, would lead them on a relentless pursuit until exhaustion claimed them. He chuckled, a dry, mirthless sound. The simplicity of it all was both terrifying and exhilarating. He slipped into the shadows of the back entrance, the heavy door groaning shut behind him. He edged into the cavernous gloom of the closet, a repository of forgotten memories. Dust sparkled and danced lazily in the single shaft of moonlight that pierced the gloom, illuminating the forgotten relics within. Moth-eaten jackets, cobweb-draped shoes, all relics of lives lived and lost. He brushed aside the debris with a practiced sidekick, his senses alert, straining to detect any sound, the distant bark of a hound, the crunch of boots on gravel. He pressed himself against the wall, the forgotten garments a makeshift shroud, his breath held. A whisper, cold and metallic, echoed in his ear. "Clear. No heat signatures detected. I will rescan in 15 minutes. Remain stationary." He acknowledged the message with a series of discreet taps, his eyes fixed on the faint glimmer of moonlight, a predator waiting for the slightest hint of movement. "While you're waiting," the voice echoed in his ear, "why don't you conduct a radiation scan? This area is supposed to be a ghost town, bathed in a lethal glow. You have 30 minutes before you need to evacuate." He acknowledged the order with the familiar double tap. He reached into his pack, retrieving an antique Geiger counter, a relic from a bygone era. This device, modified for silent operation, was a ghost in the machine, invisible to the prying eyes of modern surveillance. The backlit display, a shroud of eerie green light, revealed the readings. Surprisingly low, in fact within acceptable limits. He transmitted the data, a chilling anomaly in the digital ether. "Odd," the voice whispered, suspicion creeping into its tone. "This area is supposed to be quarantined. Why is the radiation so low?" The device slipped into the inner pocket of his tailored coat, the question lingering like a phantom. It was a puzzle for another time, a luxury he couldn't afford now. His investigation, a clandestine thread unraveling in the shadows, had led him here, to this desolate backwater, 1,000 miles from the sterile gleam of his sanctuary. He extricated himself from the suffocating embrace of the coats, a silent predator emerging from its den. Movement was a whisper, his presence a fleeting echo in the gloom. He crouched behind the relic of a bygone era, the entertainment system, a grotesque monument to consumerism. A predatory glint sparked in his eyes. The glasses, a masterpiece of discrete technology, descended from their perch atop his skull. Infrared vision ignited, the room transformed into a stark, thermal landscape. The lenses, a canvas for the unseen, revealed a hidden symphony of heat signatures, each a potential clue, a potential threat. This was not merely a pair of glasses, it was an extension of his senses, a weapon in the arsenal of his solitary war. Beneath the imposing shadow of a 65-inch flat-screen behemoth, a relic of a forgotten age of self-indulgence lay dormant. A PlayStation 4. A wry smile touched his lips. How quaint, how utterly pedestrian. A relic of a time when entertainment was a pale imitation of the thrill of the hunt, a time before he had embraced the darkness. How times have changed. The room, eerily preserved, spoke of a life abruptly frozen. Dust lay thick, a shroud draped over forgotten memories. No scurrying rodents dared to disturb the silence. The so-called mini-nuclear holocaust had sterilized the town, leaving only a chilling emptiness in its wake. He moved with the stealth of a shadow, his gaze sweeping across the room. The glasses, a silent sentinel, recorded every detail, a panoramic tapestry woven from light and shadow. Back in the sanctuary of the vintage 4x4 SUV, the young woman watched the scene unfold on the in-dash display. The room, rendered in perfect 3D detail, seemed to breathe, each creak of the floorboards amplified in the oppressive silence. "Nothing out of the ordinary, boss," she whispered, her voice a silken thread in the tense atmosphere. "If whatever it is, It's well hidden, a secret chamber, perhaps, a sanctuary within this tomb. Her fingers danced across the console, activating the X-ray scan. I'll flag any anomalies, any hidden voids, any door that dares to remain concealed. He acknowledged her words with a silent tap, his senses alert. The house, a grotesque parody of domesticity, exuded an aura of paranoia. Its design was a fortress, not a home, each corner a potential ambush point. 2 doorways, a redundant security measure, guarded each room, while larger chambers boasted a third, a defiant breach in the walls. This house, her voice, a low thrum in his ear, it's peculiar. I'm running a background check on the architect, the builder. Every detail, every anomaly will be scrutinized. He clicked twice, acknowledging her diligence. Living room clear, proceed to the hallway. The silence, now punctuated only by the rhythmic thud of his boots, pressed down upon him, heavy and suffocating. This was no ordinary investigation. This was a descent into the heart of darkness, a journey into the chilling depths of a forgotten evil past. He turned toward the hallway, a silent ghost, amplified by the sophisticated optics of his glasses, meticulously scanned every inch of the passage, leaving no shadow unexplored. Back in the SUV, Annika initiated the next phase of their operation. With a silent hiss, a panel in the dashboard slid aside, revealing a sleek, vintage-style keyboard. The keys, illuminated by an internal glow, beckoned her touch. She slid from behind the wheel, settling into the custom-made seat that bisected the front compartment. Her fingers danced across the keys, a practiced grace that belied the age of the technology. The screen flickered to life, revealing a familiar interface, the remnants of an ancient 3D CAD program, resurrected and repurposed for their clandestine missions. "Boss sure paid a pretty penny for my education," she muttered, a wry smile playing on her lips, "so I could whip up these unique software solutions for these assignments." She watched with anticipation. Would this antiquated code, a Frankenstein's monster shitball of code of her own creation, deliver the results they sought? She paused, her gaze sweeping over the outside surroundings. The SUV, a testament to cutting-edge engineering, was shrouded in a matte finish, a military-grade nanocomposite paint that had evolved far beyond the rudimentary stealth technologies of the F-22 and F-35 eras. The windows, like her boss's glasses, were imbued with a sophisticated film, transforming the darkness into an eerie daylight. A constellation of sensors, embedded seamlessly into the vehicle's exterior, pulsed with activity, monitoring the surroundings for any sign of intrusion, any probing gaze. The monitor, a symphony of blinking lights, confirmed the absence of any unauthorized presence, any unwelcome eyes. She doubted anyone could have detected their presence. This was no ordinary vehicle. It was a mobile fortress, a testament to human ingenuity and a hefty investment of 25 million credits, the digital currency that had replaced archaic forms of exchange. Powered by a silent power source of various kinds combined into one, it glided through the world, a ghost in the machine, capable of consuming a myriad of fuel sources to sustain its energy requirements. "I just have this weird feeling something or someone is out there watching us, but sensors are clean. I will continue to scan the area." "Proceed with caution, boss," Annika whispered, her voice a silken thread in the oppressive silence. The vintage SUV's sophisticated cabin acoustics ensured her words were transmitted to Cole with crystal clarity. Beep beep came the immediate confirmation, a digital echo of his agreement. Cole crouched in the center of the living room, a silent sentinel surveying his surroundings. To his left, a shadowy hallway beckoned, promising secrets yet to be revealed. To his right, the large bay window offered a glimpse of the overgrown world outside. Decades of neglect had transformed the once manicured lawn into a jungle, the hedge a monstrous barrier of thorns, reaching towards the sky like skeletal fingers. The stone walkway, leading from the expansive veranda, was overgrown with weeds, the ornate wooden gate a relic of a bygone era. And then there were the doors, a majestic pair of double doors, adorned with intricate stained glass, their grandeur undiminished by the passage of time. Even in this decaying husk of a home, they exuded an aura of forgotten elegance, a testament to the wealth and ambition of its long-gone inhabitants. Cole approached the front door, his gaze drawn to the intricate floor. Black and white marble tiles were arranged in a mesmerizing checkerboard pattern, with a magnificent bird of prey, its wings spread wide, dominating the center. He turned to the right, his footsteps echoing in the cavernous hallway. The ceiling soared upwards, dwarfing him, while the hallway itself stretched out before him, an endless expanse of marble and shadow. After approximately 35 feet, the hallway culminated in a grand opening, revealing a glimpse of a spacious public meeting area furnished in opulence, a sign of the shameless and extreme decadence of the previous owners. A true representation of the times of this home's birth. Along the left wall, 2 imposing doors stood sentinel, flanked by a pair of exquisite paintings. Beneath each painting, a meticulously crafted presentation table, a sleek ebony surface, stretched for 7 feet, displaying a collection of photographs. These were no ordinary snapshots. They depicted a bygone era, a glimpse into the lives of people from the 1940s, vintage automobiles, grand buildings, and the faces of long-forgotten individuals. Cole moved slowly along the hallway, allowing the sophisticated sensors in his glasses to capture every detail, every nuance. This information would be transmitted to Annika, who would meticulously reconstruct the scene, bringing this forgotten world back to life in vibrant 3D detail. Cole approached the first door, his hand instinctively reaching for the knob. It was locked, a defiant barrier against his intrusion. He continued his methodical progress, meticulously scanning each painting as he moved. The second door, however, stood partially ajar, an invitation, a promise of secrets within. He gently pushed it open, revealing a cavernous office, plunged into an eerie twilight due to the absence of windows. Activating the night vision mode of his glasses, Cole transformed the gloom into a stark, monochrome world. The room, a testament to bygone opulence, was adorned with dark wood paneling, a relic of early 20th century design. 2 imposing paintings, mirror images of each other, dominated opposite walls. Along the length of both walls, a series of ornate table stands displayed a collection of statues depicting figures from a bygone era, perhaps centuries past. Some of the faces, shrouded in the ghostly glow of his night vision, seemed vaguely familiar, a chilling echo of a forgotten history. These details, meticulously recorded by his glasses, would be subjected to rigorous analysis in the sanctuary of his lab. The hardwood floor, a testament to meticulous craftsmanship, was laid in a striking diagonal pattern, the planks converging at a single point in the center of the room. Dominating the space was a colossal desk, crafted from solid oak and adorned with intricate brass inlays. The desk's surface was covered in a supple layer of leather, embossed with a haunting symbol, the eagle, its wings outstretched in a defiant gesture. Perched atop a wreath that enclosed the symbol of an all-seeing corporation, the letters spelled in acronyms spelled Mother. Then around the bottom of the circular design, the ancient Germanic words Morden Abethwingen, Qualen, Hassan, Skaben, Walton. The symbol in the middle was that of a sphere from with. In the sphere was an all-seeing eye. 2 imposing leather chairs, positioned at opposing angles, faced the desk, inviting the occupant to partake in a silent conversation. A pair of brass lamps, once cast a warm glow, would have illuminated the scene. However, one of the chairs, thrown back with an almost violent force, lay on its side at an unnatural angle, a silent testament to the urgency of the occupant's departure. Behind the desk, an imposing wall of bookshelves stretched upwards, overflowing with volumes, each a window into a different world, a different era. The room, once a sanctuary of knowledge and power, now exuded an aura of unsettling stillness, a lingering echo of a life abruptly interrupted. Evil, though, still persisted in this still dark tomb. Still, they would have to return many times in the future to retrieve these treasures for study at a later time. The hardwood floor was a study in geometric precision, laid in a striking diagonal pattern, the planks converging at a single point in the center of the room, a mirror of the previous rooms. Cole stepped carefully into the office, his boots sinking slightly into the thick layer of dust that coated the floor. Decades had passed since any living presence had disturbed this eerie stillness. Every surface, from the imposing desk to the delicate statuary, was shrouded in a thick pall of dust. Cole, ever vigilant, spotted an interesting detail. A scattering of unopened mail lay strewn across the desk. Stooping closer, he examined one of the envelopes. A strange symbol, unlike any he had ever encountered, was embossed on the corner. The return address, scrawled in a foreign script, revealed the letter had been dispatched by special courier from Austria. Further inspection revealed a trail of correspondence from various corners of the globe: Germany, Venezuela, Sweden, Denmark, and even South Africa. The language, a curious but ancient and obscure dialect of German, hinted at a Teutonic origin, yet it possessed an unsettling strangeness. But it was the courier service that truly piqued his interest. Schotten, a name that resonated with an unfamiliar darkness, a name he had never encountered before. Cole carefully collected the letters, securing them within the inner pocket of his coat. Back at the lab, their secrets would be meticulously analyzed. Circling the desk, he noticed a series of large drawers, extending from the tabletop to the floor. The two upper drawers on each side were pulled open, their contents scattered, as if someone had frantically searched for something before making a hasty escape. The lower drawers, however, remained closed, all but one on the right side, which was firmly locked. As he surveyed the room, his infrared vision cutting through the gloom, he noticed a shadowy figure lying at the base of a large bust of Emperor Nero. It was a corpse, lying on its side, one arm outstretched. Cole knelt beside it, the sight both chilling and oddly familiar. The body was not truly decomposed, but rather desiccated, the tissues shriveled and drawn back tautly over the skeletal frame. In the corpse's outstretched hand, a very rare relic of a bygone era, lay a German Luger, a testament to a violent end. Scattered around the body were the telltale brass casings, grim witnesses to a final desperate struggle. Reaching for the Luger, Cole was surprised by the corpse's tenacious grip. With a careful touch, he gently pried the stiffened fingers away from the pistol's grip. The trigger finger, however, proved more stubborn, stubbornly clinging to its deadly perch. "Be extremely careful, boss." Annika's voice, a low thrum in his ear, carried a note of urgency. "If that gun discharges, it will alert the guards. Just cut off the damn finger." Cole nodded, his gaze fixed on the weapon. He carefully positioned the Luger on the floor, the back of the hand facing upwards. With a practiced motion, he slid the blade of his combat knife between the corpse's finger and the pistol grip, severing the tendon with a single, precise stroke. The corpse's hand finally relinquished its hold, and Cole gently rolled the body onto its back, revealing the contorted face, frozen in a silent scream. Cole gently pushed the Luger away from the corpse, and then turned his attention back to the deceased. With a practiced ease, he straightened the corpse's limbs, ensuring a semblance of dignity in death. "Wow, the boss shows respect for the dead. That's new," Annika commented, her voice a low murmur in his ear. Cole let out a dry chuckle. "Respect," he scoffed. "More like maintaining order. Besides," he added, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper, "you never know what evidence you might miss if you don't treat the deceased with a certain decorum." He began his search, meticulously examining the corpse's pockets. A leather wallet, weathered and worn, yielded little of value. A few crumpled bills, a faded photograph, and a driver's license bearing a name that meant nothing to him. He also recovered a very old passport, its pages brittle with age, and a small notebook and pen tucked into an inner pocket. Finally, he noticed a necklace around the corpse's neck. Gently unbuttoning the shirt, he revealed 3 curious rings, each encircling a key. One of the rings, however, remained empty, a missing key. "Assuming there was a third key," Annika mused, her voice filled with intrigue. "Could this be the homeowner?" Cole shook his head, his gaze fixed on the corpse. "No," he said decisively. "The way he's positioned, the way he's dressed, it's clear he was an intruder. An assassin, perhaps, here to kill someone." Cole reached into the jacket's inner pocket, his fingers brushing against a metallic object. With a practiced motion, he withdrew a magazine, then another, and another. 3 magazines in total, each one a chilling testament to the intruder's lethal intent. "So," Cole murmured, more to himself than to Annika, "this guy was here to kill the occupant of this home, and perhaps their family as well." The silence that followed was heavy, punctuated only by the rhythmic splashing of rain outside. The air in the room, thick with the dust of decades and the chilling presence of death, seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the next revelation, the next piece of the puzzle to fall into place. "Okay, cool, boss, but grab that gun," Annika urged, her voice laced with excitement. "If I'm correct, that's a prototype Luger. the precursor to the standard Luger that we know and love, the one favored by those SS officers. It's probably worth millions of credits, maybe only 3 of these exist in the world. This is an incredible find, boss. Indeed, Cole replied, his fingers closing around the cold metal of the Luger. He quickly unbuckled the shoulder holster from the corpse and strapped it around his own torso. Extracting the magazine from the Luger, he counted the remaining rounds. 3. With a practiced motion, he replaced the magazine with a fully loaded one and holstered the weapon. The spent magazine, with its remaining ammunition, was carefully stowed in his front pocket. "This gun," he declared, "will be my new sidearm." "Good one, boss," Annika exclaimed. "That's one cool gun, deadly and accurate as hell, too." Cole turned his attention back to the corpse, carefully removing the necklace. "Yeah," he observed. "This guy took 2 rounds to the head. Small caliber, enough to kill him, but not enough to cause massive trauma. I'll continue searching this office for more clues." Annika's voice, laced with excitement, streamed through his earpiece. "Wow, this just went from a curious little rundown to a full-blown, over-the-top mystery that's over 70 years old. This is making me very enthusiastic." She paused, a low chuckle rumbling in her chest. "Understood," Cole replied, his voice dry. "Let's not get carried away." "Okay, seriously, keep your eyes peeled for that key," Annika whispered, her voice a low thrum in his ear. "If it's around, it won't be in this office. You might have to try to pick it or something later, if we have time, that is." Cole nodded in agreement. I think we'll need to revisit this place at another time. There's so much here to investigate. And," he added, a glint of amusement in his eyes, "I'm not leaving these artifacts behind. They must be worth a fortune on the underground market." "You read my mind," Annika exclaimed. "I just researched that one painting in the hallway. It dates back to the 15th century, not just a painting, but an ancient painted panel. If I'm right, it's been missing for a very long time and is worth about 230 million credits at the very minimum. In fact, it's part of a pair, the Just Judges, and together they form a single masterpiece. This is the missing panel. Wow." Cole raised an eyebrow, a slow smile spreading across his face. To think we were led to this mansion on just a fragment of digital code that had been floating around the ether for all these years. "True that," Annika replied, "and it only surfaced once the underground networks were rebooted recently." Cole turned his attention to the imposing bookshelf that dominated the rear wall of the office. "Take a close scan of this bookshelf," he instructed. "It stretches from floor to ceiling, overflowing with, well, I don't know what to call them. Strange books, ancient tomes. We'll study them back at the lab. There are probably more valuable artifacts hidden amongst these volumes." "Will do, boss," Annika replied. "I have a feeling we'll be returning to this property more than a few times once we research and catalog the contents of this house. By the way, I got dibs on that mint-condition old PlayStation 4 and all its games, and that killer vintage flat screen." "You got it," Cole chuckled. "Okay, I'm moving out of the office and heading upstairs. Keep recording. I'll go as slow as possible to get as much detail as I can." Cole began his ascent, the echoes of his footsteps a haunting counterpoint to the silence that had long held sway within this forgotten mansion. The adventure had just begun. "Okay, I will keep an eye out for the patrols," Annika whispered, her voice a low thrum in his ear. "The sensors are not picking up anything, but I just have this weird feeling we are being monitored. Keep it low-key. We have all night now that we know the radiation thing is a ruse. And if trouble comes, we can take off for a few months and come back after it cools off." Cole pondered her words. Their technology was old, but it was cutting edge, the best available for covert operations like this. Yet a nagging sense of unease lingered. They had faced unforeseen challenges in the past, encountering technologies that surpassed their own, a sobering reminder that the world was a constantly evolving landscape. He knelt down, his gaze fixed on the intricate lock mechanism of the bottom drawer. It was an older model, an electronic passcode unit, yet surprisingly, it still functioned. The house itself had long been devoid of power, yet the lock mechanism remained active, suggesting it possessed an internal power source, a testament to its robust design. "Annika, scan this lock system that I am looking at," Cole instructed. "It's still charged. See if you can retrieve its code to unlock it. Incredible power source. It has been locked for probably over 70 years. On it, boss. Just give me a couple of secs. Don't move for a few. The comm channel fell silent for a tense 15 seconds. Then Annika's voice burst through, laced with a mixture of astonishment and frustration. Well, no wonder it has stayed powered up all these decades. The freaking thing has a nuclear power source, she exclaimed. Also, the algorithm of the lock software is sensing that I'm trying to hack it and has gone into some sort of fail-safe mode. Whoever had this built was damn serious about whatever is in that drawer. You will have to find the passcode for that lock. I can't hack it without being at it for hours, maybe even days. Roger, I will move upstairs and keep looking around, Cole replied, slowly backing out of the office and returning to the hallway. Annika's voice sounded through his earbuds. Hold on. The scan of the room has just constructed on my screen. There are anomalies in the chair that was turned over and off to the right of the chair. There are the same anomalies on the backs of some of the books. Could you go back in and look at these closer? Cole retraced his steps back into the office and moved up to the chair, kneeling down beside it. Through the layer of dust on the armrest of the chair, there was a small, almost perfectly round hole, as if made by a high-velocity projectile. Then, looking at the back of the chair, he found another, identical hole. Moving back to the desk, he squatted as if he was sitting in the chair, facing the door. Then, looking back at the chair, it was positioned at an angle from the desk to the right. A shiver ran down his spine. This was a firefight. He played it through his mind. He could almost hear the echoes of the gunfire, the desperate struggle for survival. Standing up and going over to the bookcase, he stopped and said, "Direct me to the other anomalies that you saw." "Over to the left and right, about at your chest height," Annika responded. Cole moved over a few feet, looking at each book back as he went. About 10 feet over from the chair were 2 books with the same neat little holes in them. "Found them," he said, his voice low and grim. "These are bullet holes. I will take these 2 books to analyze back at the lab." Cole pulled the 2 books from the shelf and examined them closely. One of the books displayed a clear entry and exit wound, the bullet having passed through a small section of the book's spine. Looking at the adjacent book, he noticed a single entry wound on its side, the bullet apparently having become lodged within its pages. He carefully opened the first book, leafing through the pages with a practiced touch. And there it was, nestled amongst the pages. A distorted, misshapen bullet, its velocity undoubtedly diminished by the dense paper before becoming embedded within the book's spine. "Found it," Cole reported, examining the bullet. "It's a medium-caliber bullet. I presume a special grain load, as the velocity was low. They look to be a 9mm caliber variant, probably from this Luger." "Roger that," Annika replied. "I will do an analysis on it when we get back." Interesting thought. Some assassins use that caliber for close-range executions. They do that so the bullet stays in the body and doesn't go through and ricochet around the room. Also, it's like a calling card letting everyone know that this was a hit. Cole pondered this. "Could be," he conceded. 9mm was very popular in the 20th century and is still widely used today. I'm moving upstairs now. "Roger that, boss," Annika responded. Cole left the office and moved down the hall. At the end of the hall, a grand staircase descended to the left, leading towards the foyer that opened onto the street. The foyer was a testament to the owner's wealth and social standing, designed to impress and awe visitors. The massive double doors, adorned with intricate stained glass panels, dominated the space. Each door featured a depiction of the same majestic eagle, its form bisected by the door frame, creating a sense of symmetry and intrigue. Towering over the foyer, 2 colossal paintings hung from the ceiling, their lower edges brushing against the ornate tiled floor. Turning to face the staircase, Cole was met by a breathtaking sight. A wide, elaborate staircase, crafted from dark hardwood, ascended towards the upper floors. A plush white carpet, secured by gleaming brass rods at each step, snaked its way up the center. Even after decades, the brass retained its original luster, a testament to the quality of its craftsmanship. Moving his head slowly, allowing the panoramic sensors in his glasses to capture every detail, Cole took in the scene. This hallway, this entrance, it was designed to impress, to intimidate. An aura of age clung to the air, a palpable sense of history, as if the very walls whispered secrets of forgotten lives. It felt heavy, almost oppressive, like a relic from a bygone era, a time when power and influence were measured in stone and steel. Even when this house was abandoned, it wouldn't have been considered contemporary for its time. It was a monument to a different era, a time of grandeur and excess. He turned his ear towards the front door, straining to hear any sounds from the outside world. Faintly, he could discern voices drifting from down the street. A deep, authoritative male voice, punctuated by the monotone drone of a female voice. The latter sounded bored, almost indifferent, while the male voice carried a note of impatience, a hint of underlying aggression. "Damn it, Greta. Seriously. I am getting tired of the dogs chasing squirrels and other small rodents around. Then we have to do a huge walk around this entire end of the town. In 5 years of us being stationed here, there has only been that one time those teenagers were screwing each other in the gas station. I mean, shit. I'm missing the second period of the game. Shit." Yes, you are right, comrade, but sometimes it is good to get off your fat ass and get a bit of exercise. Besides, that hockey team of yours stinks and never wins, so who friggin' cares? Responded the female voice with a mean chuckle. She sounded distinctly German with a subtle Russian accent. Their footsteps drew closer as they patrolled down the center of the street, their conversation abruptly ceasing. Cole could hear the distinct clicking sounds of their flashlights sweeping across the facades of the houses, illuminating the deserted street in fleeting bursts of light. They stopped directly in front of the house, their beams converging on the dilapidated structure. "That is one nice shack," the male guard observed, his voice awed despite himself. "But it's completely out of place in this little town. Weird, spooky as hell, too." "Indeed, totally out of place in this neighborhood," the female guard agreed. "I have always wondered about this one. When I try to search up who was the owner, it just comes up blank. But all of the other houses come up with actual people, some of whom I have traced their descendants to other cities. But this one is just a big dead end." The female paused, her flashlight sweeping across the overgrown yard. "Also, it is the only house with the utilities still functioning. That is strange." Cole held his breath, his senses on high alert. The conversation had taken an unexpected turn. These guards, with their casual observations and shared knowledge of the town's history, were proving to be an unexpected source of valuable information. "Added to that, we are forbidden to step through that gate," the male guard continued, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "I mean, I have been in every house in this town, exploring and stuff. But you touch that place and the next day the big brass will be here and grill your stinking ass about it. Now that's some serious shit. That house must have something in it that they don't want us to know about." The beams of their flashlights sliced through the darkness, moving methodically across the facade of the house, illuminating the windows as they progressed. Cole, holding his breath, watched from his vantage point, his heart pounding against his ribs. "I have a weird feeling tonight," the male guard muttered, his voice laced with unease. "The dogs taking off like that, then the call to check out this side of town, and especially this house. It's strange, after all of these years, the heads are concerned about this house." "Yeah, I know, it's very strange," the female guard agreed. "What are the orders exactly? Do we go inside and clear it or what?" "Nothing other than to do a sweep of the neighboring houses and then station for the rest of our shift around this house, but not to enter the property." "That's all the text said," the male guard replied. Cole listened intently, his mind racing. Their conversation confirmed his suspicions. This wasn't just a routine patrol. There was something more, something sinister, lurking beneath the surface. And he, by a stroke of incredible luck, had stumbled upon the heart of the mystery. The two guards moved past the front of the house and down the street towards a connecting side street. "Shit, boss, that was close," Annika whispered, her voice barely audible. "Yes," Cole replied, his heart still pounding. "Did you notice them before on your monitoring systems?" "Nope," Annika admitted, "but I'm monitoring through a satellite channel that is so damn old, like it's over 100 years old. So it may not be able to detect a lot of things, considering its age. Possibly." "Possibly? What do you mean, Annika?" Cole pressed, his concern growing. Well, in outer space, technology doesn't degrade like it does here on Earth, Annika explained. At least this satellite seems to hold its age very well. So I am thinking it's some sort of tech that is blocking any scanning like we are doing. They just sort of popped up, and it wasn't the satellite scanning system that caught them. It was your systems that you are holding. Cole frowned, pondering her words. Annika was right. The guards had appeared almost out of thin air, their presence undetected by his sophisticated surveillance systems. This was no coincidence. Someone or something was actively interfering with their operation. Cole thought about it and shrugged. Okay, at least we know they are close by. I will proceed with extreme caution. Cloak the SUV for the rest of the night in case there are other surprises that pop up. Also, if you get detected, leave. Don't worry about me. I will get out another way. Roger that, boss. Implementing cloak now, Annika replied. Annika typed in a code on the console. There was a very low audible humming sound. Then the exterior of the truck body shimmered slightly before completely vanishing from sight. Annika smiled, a mischievous glint in her eye. You know, I could just send over a drone and make those two have a permanent nap. Cole stopped, frowning and shaking his head. This girl was a perfect partner in his business, but sometimes she just blew his mind with how brutal she really was. No, Cole replied firmly. We need to maintain stealth at all costs, hee. Sigh, I know, boss, just having fun, Annika replied, her voice a playful chide. Cole waited patiently, his senses on high alert, until the flashlights had moved completely out of sight, and the sounds of their conversation had faded into the distance. Keep an eye on those two, Cole instructed. Let me know when or if they look like they are returning to this house. I will continue to explore this house and gather as much information on this place as I can. The bedroom was a sight to behold. Dominating the room was a colossal four-poster bed, its ornate canopy a testament to the family's wealth and extravagant tastes. The bed frame, intricately carved from what appeared to be an exotic hardwood, was a masterpiece of craftsmanship. Two matching bedside tables, equally ornate, flanked the bed. On the left side of the room, a massive dresser stood imposingly, its surface adorned with a collection of decorative ornaments. The drawers, crafted from the same exquisite wood as the bed, were embellished with intricate brass inlays, each drawer boasting a pair of large, ornate brass handles with white bone centers. A matching dresser mirrored this one on the opposite side of the room, suggesting this was the master bedroom of the house, given the size and opulence of the space. In the haste of his ascent, Cole hadn't paid much attention to his surroundings. Now, switching on the infrared mode of his glasses, he noticed something disturbing. A trail of dark droplets, almost imperceptible to the naked eye, led into the bedroom, terminating abruptly at the foot of the bed. Intrigued, he switched the infrared light to a different wavelength, a shorter wavelength designed to highlight stains on fabrics and other surfaces. Once the IR light was activated, the dark spots that the infrared had shown to stop at the foot of the bed now revealed a long, chilling smear along the ornate wood footboard, extending towards the corner of the bed and culminating in a large, ominous stain on the corner of the blankets. Cole circled around the bed, his gaze fixed on the disturbing sight. The nightstand drawer, pulled open, displayed a scene of frantic desperation, objects strewn haphazardly across the surface, as if someone had rummaged through them in a desperate search. Mass amount of blood all over the master bed, Cole whispered into his microphone. Looks like those bullets from the library downstairs had made their intended mark. I will follow the blood trail. You mean no dead bodies to go with that blood? Annika responded, a touch of hopeful anticipation in her voice. Cole smirked. Not yet, he replied, but you will be the first to know. Pictures. I want pictures, for the record. Right, Cole chuckled, nodding in understanding. He knew all too well Annika's morbid fascination with the departed, and how they became departed. The pictures would indeed be added to the official case file, but he also knew they would find their way into her private collection of macabre imagery, a growing archive of the grim realities they had encountered over the years. Looking back down at the carpeted floor of the master bedroom, the blood trail led him to the far right side of the room, where a large linen cabinet stood imposingly. The cabinet itself was a work of art, meticulously crafted with intricate inscriptions adorning the door frames, etched in an ancient, long-forgotten language. Cole opened the cabinet door with the utmost care, bracing himself for the groan of rusty hinges. To his surprise, the door swung open silently, a testament to the meticulous craftsmanship that had gone into its construction. Inside, rows of finely tailored suits and elegant evening gowns hung suspended from a brass rod that stretched across the width of the cabinet. As Cole surveyed the contents, he noticed a subtle disturbance in the arrangement of the clothing. The housecoats and evening jackets in the center of the cabinet appeared to have been slightly displaced. Scanning the floor of the cabinet, he spotted 2-minute droplets of blood, one resting precariously on the edge of the cabinet door, the other further inside. Cole moved the dark evening blazer that had been slightly displaced, revealing a blood smear that stretched across the front of the garment. It seemed someone had passed through the narrow space between the blazer and the nightgown, disturbing their arrangement and leaving a trail of blood in their wake. Pushing the clothing aside, he reached towards the back wall of the closet, pressing lightly against the surface. It felt solid, unremarkable. "I'm going to scan this closet," Cole announced. "There seems to be a lot of blood leading towards this area. Maybe there is a hidden passage." "Affirmative," Annika replied, ready to scan. Cole pressed the right arm of his glasses, activating the built-in scanner. Looking first at the floor of the closet, he moved his gaze slowly and methodically around the interior. "Nothing, boss," Annika reported. "Step inside the closet and face out through the open doors." Cole stepped into the closet and turned to face back into the bedroom. "Okay, I noticed the closet structure is wider than its doors. Look to each side of the closet doors." Cole looked carefully on each side of the closet doorway, being careful not to move too quickly. He scanned the right side of the closet, his gaze sweeping from the floor to the ceiling. Then he stepped over to the other side and repeated the process, meticulously examining every inch of the wall. About midway up the wall, Annika's voice cut through the silence. "All right, hold on there. There's a panel right where you are looking. See what that is." Cole pressed lightly on the wall where Annika had indicated. To his surprise, the panel moved slightly inward, then slid seamlessly to the side, revealing a hidden compartment. Within the compartment, a small keypad blinked to life. "It needs a code," Cole muttered, his curiosity piqued. "I wonder where the code could be. Let me look around some more. It has to be around here somewhere. If not, I will have to try to crack it from here, but it's a pretty tight unit. My scans are not breaking through its encryption yet." Cole stepped out of the closet and looked around the room. On each opposing wall stood the large dressers, each an identical twin of the other. Moving over to the dresser on the right, he examined its surface. More artworks, small ornaments, and framed photographs adorned its surface. Trying the drawers, he found them to glide open silently, revealing a collection of old undergarments and a variety of personal grooming supplies. The other dresser, upon inspection, mirrored the contents of the first. Moving around the room, he examined the artworks that adorned the walls. Then his gaze fell upon a large, ornate mirror that stood in the corner of the room. Stepping closer, he stood before it, his reflection staring back at him. However, through the lenses of his glasses, the mirror's surface appeared distorted, the image fragmented and distorted. Removing his glasses, he looked again, and the reflection appeared normal. Cole switched to blue light and peered through the glasses. The mirror, instead of reflecting his image, remained a blank, impenetrable surface. Looking around the edges of the mirror, he noticed an anomaly, a faint inscription etched into the bottom left corner of the glass. "I have that," Annika announced. "It is recorded. Keep looking around, let's see what else we can find." Cole walked out of the bedroom, standing now on the open hallway that encircled the grand staircase. Below him, the main hallway stretched out like a grand artery leading towards the front entrance. There were 4 additional doors evenly spaced along the circular walkway. The main bedroom occupied the center of this floor, with 2 rooms on each side. This house, even in its current state of disrepair, was a testament to immense wealth. It must have cost a fortune to construct in its heyday. Moving to the left, he approached the first door and tried the handle. Locked. He moved on to the next door with the same result. The remaining 2 doors yielded the same outcome. Firmly locked. Annika's voice filled his earpiece. Okay, go back to the closet. I want to try something. The inscription you found has just 2 letters. They were SR. Then, if you reference that to a number, it comes up with 1918. Go pound that into the keypad, and let's see what it does. Cole turned away from the locked door and quickly returned to the closet. Stepping inside, he touched the panel again. Once it slid aside, the keypad once again slid into view. He immediately keyed in 1918 on the keypad. The display blinked off. For a second, nothing happened. Then suddenly, the doors to the closet swung shut silently, followed by the smooth mechanical slide of a hidden panel across the entrance. Cole looked around the edge of the sliding metal door, his eyes widening. Okay, Cole said, his voice low and awestruck. The closet doors shut on their own, and then a metal door slid in front of them. It's an elevator. Annika was silent for a moment, then she exclaimed, "Wait!" As soon as she spoke those words, the floor beneath Cole began to descend. The clothing within the closet swayed gently as the hidden compartment began its descent, carrying Cole with it. "It's an elevator," Cole muttered, a mixture of awe and apprehension in his voice. "Clever." "Okay, that is what I kinda had a hunch on. I'm monitoring how far it descends," Annika replied. The elevator plummeted downwards, the air growing thick and stale. Cole gripped his newly acquired Luger, the cold metal a stark contrast to the clammy air. Annika's voice, a calm counterpoint to the unsettling descent, crackled through his earpiece. "Stay alert, Cole. I'm monitoring your descent. Be wary of traps and anything out of the ordinary." The elevator doors hissed open, revealing a long, dark corridor. Dust motes danced in the single shaft of light filtering in from an unseen source. A wave of oppressive dread washed over Cole. Lights flickered to life, one by one, casting eerie shadows down the hall. "Be cautious, Cole," Annika warned. "Ready your weapon." Cole cautiously stepped out, the Luger now firmly gripped in his hand. The corridor was lined with gleaming metal walls, strangely untarnished by time. Dust lay thick on the floor, obscuring the ornate artwork lining the walls, priceless masterpieces, long thought lost to history. As he moved further, the lights behind him blinked out, replaced by new ones illuminating the path ahead. Doors lined the corridor, each secured with a sophisticated code pad. Above each door, a letter and a number were etched. The corridor ended at a set of stairs descending into darkness. Cole cautiously placed his foot on the first step. The lights behind him extinguished, and new ones flickered to life below, revealing a seemingly endless descent. "Hold, Cole," Annika instructed. "Let me scan ahead." Annika's voice returned, a hint of urgency in her tone. "I detect an energy source at the bottom of the stairs. Proceed with extreme caution." Cole descended slowly, the Luger held steady. At the bottom, a heavy metal door stood slightly ajar. It creaked ominously as he pushed it open. The room was vast, lined with shelves overflowing with books. Tables, each equipped with an ancient computer, were arranged in a grid pattern across the room. Notes and papers littered the surfaces, evidence of intense research conducted long ago. Cole moved through the room, examining each workstation, a sense of awe mixed with unease. The air hung heavy with the ghosts of past endeavors. Suddenly, he stumbled upon a corpse, half sitting on the floor. A gold key dangled from the skeletal hand. "Looks like another victim from the gunfight upstairs," Cole muttered. "Survived the headshot somehow." A closer inspection revealed a bullet wound to the head and 3 to the chest. Cole carefully removed the key from the lifeless grip. "Search the room thoroughly for any clues," Annika instructed. Cole nodded, first searching the corpse. He found an old USB drive in the man's wallet, tucking them away for later examination. His search led him to a heavy door at the back of the room. The key fit perfectly. The door swung open, revealing a single stark desk made of metal. Atop it rested an ancient laptop, still glowing with an eerie light. "Cole, I'm detecting new arrivals," Annika whispered urgently. "They've killed the guards, heavily armed and approaching the house. Find a hiding place. I'll handle this." Cole quickly extinguished the lights and dived behind the desk. Meanwhile, 2 kilometers away, Annika launched 2 drones from her SUV. They moved silently and swiftly, guided by her commands. The drones located the assassins. "Neutralizing targets," Annika announced coldly. The drones struck with deadly precision, silent darts finding their mark. "Get to the far side of town, Cole," Annika instructed. "I'll pick you up." The SUV sprang to life, the cloaking shield retracting. It navigated the terrain with uncanny speed and silence. "Targets neutralized," Annika confirmed. "Get moving, Cole." Cole grabbed the laptop and sprinted through the office, up the stairs, and back through the underground corridor to the elevator. He punched in the code and ascended to the main floor. He burst from the hidden elevator and raced through the house, finally reaching the back door. "Follow the beacon," Annika instructed. "It will lead you to my location." Cole followed the beacon, the adrenaline surging through his veins. The sound of dogs barking echoed behind him. He increased his pace, the chase closing in. Annika dispatched the drones to eliminate the threat. The drones moved with deadly efficiency, neutralizing the dogs and their handlers. The SUV materialized beside him, the door sliding open. He leaped inside as it lifted off the ground, the cloaking shield once again enshrouding them. "That was quite the welcome," Annika remarked, a wry smile playing on her lips. "Definitely not what I expected," Cole admitted, still catching his breath. "We're onto something big, Annika. Something very, very old." Annika nodded in agreement. "Indeed, we'll get to the bottom of this." The SUV, cloaked and silent, navigated a hidden route, disappearing into the night. 3 kilometers away, 3 figures stood in the shadows. They wore the chilling uniform of a bygone era, black, with a red, white, and black striped ribbon around their necks. A medal, emblazoned with a double lightning symbol, hung from the ribbon. The woman, her face pale and gaunt, lit a cigarette from a gold case bearing the swastika. "We found him," she hissed, her voice a chilling whisper. "After all these decades, we finally found him." The man beside her nodded. "Indeed, our old comrade." The third figure, his uniform adorned with higher rank insignia, remained silent for a moment. "No need to interfere yet," he declared. "Let him play his part. In time, he will return to us." They boarded a sleek, futuristic vehicle, its shape reminiscent of a UFO, and vanished into the night. To be continued in Chapter 2, Episode 2.